We have some revised box office projections for Marvel's upcoming Fantastic Four, and right now it's saying that the opening weekend domestically is looking like it should be in the area of $100 to $125 million, which on the surface sounds pretty good. After all, whenever a movie makes over $100 million domestically during its opening weekend, that's usually something to brag about, and I'm not going to take anything away from it on that one. But when you look at the projections from last month, you can see this one was published June 14th versus the one I just showed you, which was published July 15th. You can see that things have actually kind of gone down a little bit for it. So it was saying right here, the Fantastic Four First Steps was on course to make somewhere in the neighborhood of $125 million domestically low end over its opening weekend. However, the upside is, shall we say, fantastic, which means the latest entry in the MCU might now amass $155 million on the high end of its long-range box office forecast. So it went from $125 to $155 million projections to $100 million to $125 million as it's getting close to the release of the movie. And like I said, that's not really that bad for the movie. And when you look at it in comparison to other movies within the MCU in recent years, that's not so bad either. The budget, it's being reported right now around $200 million. So when you factor in marketing and all those other costs, it probably needs to make somewhere around $650 million. If it makes more than $650 million globally during its theatrical run, then I think you could say that the movie was profitable for the studio. But looking at it compared to some of the other opening weekends for recent Marvel entries, you got Thunderbolts here, Captain America, Brave New World. It would beat out those movies, which were box office flop for the studio. Obviously, it's not going to beat out Deadpool and Wolverine. Even if it really overperforms, I doubt it'll break $200 million domestically during its opening weekends, but maybe the projections are just that far off. I'm not really expecting that much though, and I don't think anyone really should, because like I said, even if it does make $100 million or around $125 million during its opening weekend, that's not anything to scoff at given the budget that it has, because if it needs to make around $650 million to be successful, that's a pretty solid start for it, assuming that it actually has a pretty decent word of mouth, and people who are kind of on the fence about seeing the movie are going to be more inclined to go and see it because of the good word of mouth. But it's definitely not going to be something like what we saw with the Marvels, where right out of the gate it's going to be a box office flop. We're basically going to have to wait and see what the audience reaction is to Fantastic Four before we can make that determine and see how things go during its second week, because Marvel, unfortunately for them in recent years, has kind of a tendency of people going to see it during its opening weekend, and then it kind of falls off a cliff the following weekends because everyone who wanted to go see it watched it early. They might have good box office numbers during their opening weekend, and then after that, people just stop watching it. We really saw that like with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, for instance. At the time that came out, the second weekend drop was the biggest box office drop in Marvel history. At least I believe at the time that was the biggest box office drop in Marvel history, because people saw it. The word of mouth wasn't that great for it, and it wasn't enough to bring in new people, and the people who wanted to see it already saw it. So it ended up at a little bit under $500 million at the global box office. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens with Fantastic Four. One thing kind of going against it is Superman is still going pretty strong. Now, the opening weekend for Fantastic Four is kind of in line with what we saw with Superman, but we also saw the reaction to Superman has been generally positive. Now, one thing going against Superman is that they have a lot bigger of a budget. I mean, it's saying $225 million, but honestly, the real budget is probably closer to the $300 million range. So they have a lot big of a hurdle to clear in order to become profitable. Whereas Fantastic Four, it's not significantly less, but still just a bit less than what Superman needs to get. But we saw the reaction to Superman was positive, and I think there's going to be some people who are still kind of on the fence for it. I mean, I know there's people out there who are convinced to go see Superman because of the positive word of mouth surrounding the movie. And when it comes to Fantastic Four, I think there are some people who are only going to go see one of the movies this month, whether it's Superman or Fantastic Four. And they're just kind of taking a holding pattern, waiting. They're like, okay, I hear Superman's really good. let's just see what people say about Fantastic Four. And if that sounds good, then they're going to weigh their options. Like, okay, well, both of these movies sound good. Which one do I want to see? Or, yeah, they both sound good, but I want to see one more than the other one, or something like that. I don't know exactly what's going to go on, but I think there's something like that in play when it comes to this sort of thing. So we'll just have to ultimately wait and see. But like I said at the start of the video, the projections right now for Fantastic Four are okay, but it's not to suggest that the movie is an instant hit out of the gate. It still has a long way to clear. And if it follows recent patterns when it comes to Marvel movies, then it's going to fall short of reaching profitability at the box office. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Do you think Fantastic Four will end up doing good? Or do you think it'll just be kind of like a flash in the pan and that's about it, being overshadowed by Superman? And also, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click the like button and share this video out there because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.